Saw you posting about the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tested the other two out yet? And have you kind of come to...
Haven't. So Active Target, even though they released it for sale, it won't be delivered and installed for anybody till January is what I'm hearing. I did have one guy reach out that ordered it right away. I believe this guy's fished a guide trip with me, but he texted me and offered me a chance to go ride with him, and I'll take him up on it if I don't get a chance to see another one first. But I believe none of them are going to be delivered until January.
So out of the ones you've seen so far, what's
LiveScope and 360,
Yeah,
and of course I have Lowrance, the current Lowrance,
right.
the lives. But which actually I've got a video coming out Monday about the LiveScope. So we went and kind of used the LiveScope today, and what I did was we took, the video we did Monday with the 360, we went to the same place, went to the same rock piles, the same brush piles, and used the LiveScope on those areas, those exact same areas that we showed you on 360. Now, unfortunately for us, the wind blew much harder today, and that presents a challenge in and of itself with LiveScope, a big challenge. The water had cooled off a lot. The fishing wasn't as good. We couldn't catch them as good. We missed a couple. I think we were only out there for, these are just a couple hour trips to test out electronics, but we caught one good one, and we missed a couple others, but the bite just wasn't as good and the conditions were worse. So it made it a little bit harder to get a real true reading on what it can do, but I got a pretty good feel for it. My general consensus is that's two completely different tools.
Right.
Like I need a screwdriver, and I need a hammer, and I need a crescent wrench to do a job. And if I'm going to do the best job on electronics and understanding what's under the water right now with the stuff that's available right now, man, I think you need both. Like I think 360 is a viable tool that you need to have if you want to have the best of the best. And I understand everybody can't afford to get 3 or 4 electronics. I get it. But if you want to have the best of the best and you got the money, I think everybody needs a 360 and they need a LiveScope. Unless you got Active Target, which that debate's up in the air. We'll see how that works out. And from what I can gather online so far, it looks like Lowrance Active Target is going to maybe be an upgrade to the LiveScope. There's a great podcast, Bass Talk Live, just did one with, and of course it's a Lowrance sales job because it was the product manager, some guy that's smart, that helps design these things and understands how they work, did a podcast interview. But there's just some science behind the Lowrance one that's going to make it have, I think, better capabilities as far as resolution goes. It's like watching old digital cable versus watching 1080p. It's a different ball game, man, and that's kind of what's going on. You're going to get a better picture. For sure, the Garmin LiveScope is lacking in how detailed you can view structure. In my opinion, from what I've seen in the boats that I've been, including the one today, the rocks that we looked at on 360, they don't look nothing like that on LiveScope. The brush that we looked at it don't look nothing like that on LiveScope. It's not as good of a picture, but you can see the fish swimming in real time. Like when you see a ball of shad, you see it moving around. Can't do that on anything else. You just can't.
Do you fish a normal lake that you fish most of the time?
He fishes here.
Yeah, he's from here. I have a camper here too, though.
If I had to give one of them up, I've got both on the front of mine.
Yeah.
Do they interfere with each other?
I have to shut the sonar off on my transducers to use the Humminbird, the 360. So, because you'll get lines on it.
Right.
Everybody's always on the deal posting about the lines. Well, shut your sonars off. It's just too much in the water. It interferes with it. But if I had to give one up, it'd be the 360.
Yeah. Yeah, because, there's not really a substitute for being able to watch that fish move and throw right at him and watch him react to your bait. Like, you just turned 20 foot of water into sight fishing.
A lot of the pros are saying the same thing. It's nice to have both because it's kind of like the
Yeah.
hammer and the nail.
That's right.
But then again, the nail is only about 20% and the hammer's about 80%.
Right.
So, you're going to use one a lot more than the other.
Yeah, so the deal is, and it's funny how this is developing, because forever my consensus on Humminbird electronics versus Lowrance was Lowrance will show you fish better and Humminbird will show you structure better. And it's always kind of been how I felt.
Yeah, and I run them both.
Humminbird just didn't mark fit, even on the side imaging. As good as Humminbird side imaging was, it was better at showing details and structure. It didn't show me fish as well as my Lowrance did. And now It's very similar it's a very similar thing with this 360 and this live scope. The Humminbird, to me, hands down shows you structure better. More detailed, more accurate, and all that. But the Garmin shows you fish swimming
Legit.
And your
in real time.
That's pretty awesome.
Now, the word is that Humminbird is going to come out with
Yeah, they're supposed to come out in March.
the Mega is going to be able
Yep.
to like zoom up a little closer, maybe see the rock structure a little better. Who knows? It's all up in there because
I will say that the Lowrance Active Target, from the video content that I've seen so far, shows structure better than the live scope does. There's some, of course, that could be just guys that are super smart, that get it super tuned in, that could, maybe they can make a Garmin look like that. I don't know, but you know, I always am cautious to look at the advertising videos, because the reality is we're regular Joes that are going to pull it out of a box and have to figure out how to use it. And that's one thing that I always loved about Lowrance was I could pull a Lowrance out of the box, plug it in, and anybody could see fish. Anybody. Humminbird, you couldn't. You just couldn't, in my opinion. So that was one of the big reasons I always favor Lowrance. Plus, you know, Lowrance has some advantages too built into the system. The Garmin is really easy to use and really easy to adjust. But the mapping and the customization of waypoints and the details that you can map your lakes out for your own good on Lowrance is just unmatched by everything else. There's so many icon varieties. You can name and describe every waypoint. So basically, you've got all your notes for everything that you fish. Anytime you're fishing, you want to take a note about something, you can do it on your graph with Lowrance. Very clear, very obvious, that quick, very simple to do. Humminbird, used to you couldn't even change the icons. I think the Solexes will let you change icons now,
Yeah.
but you still can't go in there and describe waypoints. You know, you still can't take the notes.
Lowrance has always had better waypoints.
Yeah, and I've got like a system for me where I don't even really describe them anymore because there's so many icon varieties. I have a different icon I use for everything. Like with my Lowrance graph, I'll always have a Lowrance on my console until something changes, something better comes along. But for the future going forward, I will always have Lowrance in front of me at the console, and this is why. When I'm driving by Lowrance and I'm graphing, and I see a roadbed, I have an icon that I use to mark the edge of the roadbed. If I see a creek channel bend, I have an icon that I use to mark a creek channel bend. If I see a pond dam, I have a different icon. If I see a brush pile, if I see a ledge, I use a little rock icon. Like, I can literally just zoom out on the map and zoom in and know exactly what's on that spot of the lake. And I don't mean like this is a good spot. I mean like I know exactly what's on that spot no matter how long ago I marked it, because I have a little system that I've made up for myself.
Ledger, more or less.
Not only that, there's so many varieties. You can go in and change the colors of the existing icons. So for me, when I'm fishing this same lake every day, or a lot of days, I do fish other lakes, but when I'm fishing this lake a lot of days, 4 days in a row or 4 or 5 days in a row in 1 week, and we're going offshore and we're graphing, well, I'll mark fish and I'll mark bass with one fish icon, and there's different types of fish icons. So I'll mark bass with this type of fish icon, and I'll mark bait fish with a different type of fish icon. And then the next day when I go out, I'll use the same 2 icons but change the colors. And as I'm graphing, I'll mark all those fish, and I'll get a map of exactly where those fish are setting up day to day. And what that does for me is when I'm graphing a long point, tell me a long point, Vic, out here. Name one. I'm just having a brain cramp. You are too. Never mind. Should have called on Vic for thinking purposes. Chicken Ridge, right over here, right? Williams Point, Pump House Point, Williams Point, or the one south Williams, Pump House Point. Long point, right? Super long. So as I use those different colors of fish icons and different varieties, I can see day to day where the bass are setting up and where the bait fish are setting up. Are they moving, or are they primarily setting up in the same area? Man, that's going to tell me a lot about those bass's behavior and day after day. And what that's going to do is if I go 3 or 4 days and they're staying on the same spot, I don't have to graph the rest of the point. And I just save myself time. It's just the customization and how efficient, if you really think about what you're doing with that Lowrance map, is, I can't replace it. Plus, they've got hands down the best 2D sonar in the game, and I can tell more detail about a fish, about how big they are, how tall they are, how dense they are, and what species they are. I can tell more detail about fish on a 2D sonar than I can on anything else.
One more question. Do you ever use that Google Earth as far as when lakes are down at their lows and go back in history, a certain amount of years.
You know, I don't out here anymore because I've seen it at the all-time low. I've been here for it, and I fished here so much over the years, so I don't out here anymore. But yeah, when I go to another lake,
That's where that Lowrance really pays off. You start marking all that good stuff that you see when you're out there, you know.
mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. You can literally sit in your boat and pull up Google Earth on your phone or your laptop, however you want to do it, in your garage or wherever you got your boat, and you can look all that stuff up and then look at your map and go boop and customize it however you want to.
For the last 25 years, I think. It's a
Yeah.
while. You can,
Yeah, you can actually, they have a program now where you can put it into your chip and put it right onto your Lowrance itself.
It's great. Man, you know, electronics, it's funny that we've ended up in it because I didn't have any plan on talking about electronics tonight. I'm doing a lot of videos on them, but it's all anybody's talking about in this industry right now, in this sport. It's the only thing anybody's talking about.
Patrick.
that's the only cheating stick we got. You know, that's the graph. Who's got the more money to buy the better equipment?
And the one thing that I'll caution everybody about, and I went down a rabbit hole, or I wouldn't say I went down the rabbit hole, I got real close to going down a rabbit hole with big swim baits. And a buddy of mine who was really, really good with big swim baits at the time warned me. He goes, dude, you need to be careful. You're going to get so into that big swim bait, you're going to forget how to fish. It's the same thing with these electronics. You're going to get so into these electronics, you're going to forget some of your instinctive fishing. And while Patrick Walters, hands down, won that tournament using electronics, and there's other tournaments that have been won using the Garmin LiveScope. Hey, when the Alabama rig came out, they were winning tournaments on the Alabama rig. That ain't going to last forever. Right. And neither, like, there's going to be plenty of tournaments that are going to be, listen, if they go back to Chickamauga in the fall, Lee Livesey's still going to win it on a frog without any electronics. He's going to turn all his off. Like he was turning all his off and push poling in there.
No noise.
You still got to remember how to be an instinct. So it's great to have this stuff, and I'm excited, just like everybody else is, to expand on my knowledge and being able to see fish better and mark fish better and hopefully catch fish better. But we still have to remember that old grass patch over there will probably hold some under the right conditions. Yeah, you do. You got to remember all your fishing instincts as you go forward in this deal. But it's great. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, the way I'm leaning is I'm going to have a Lowrance on my console and a 360 and some type of forward-facing real-time sonar up front, a combination of those two. I'm going to have 3 graphs on my boat, and that's how I'm going to set it up. Now, whether that'll be a Garmin or an active target, Lowrance active target, I need to see the Lowrance active target first. But that's part of why I'm going through all these videos. So we got the first Garmin video, and really that lake we were fishing and the structure we were fishing, for the 360 it worked out great. We could see the structure perfectly. I mean, you could see every corner on the rock piles. I think we need to do another Garmin one because I think we were too shallow, the wind was blowing too hard, and the guy who I was with has the transducer mounted on the trolling motor shaft. One thing that I will recommend to everybody, and I don't know how yours is mounted,
On the shaft.
and I will recommend this to anybody that gets one. You need to mount that real-time sonar transducer, forward-facing transducer, you need to mount it somehow where you can turn it independently from the trolling motor.
Yep.
You have such a big, you're a big disadvantage if you can't, because like today when the wind's blowing, man, if you get off that trolling motor to turn and look for a second, you're getting blown off the spot. And so we really couldn't look. The way we were having to fish this way towards our target, but we weren't able to sit there and look at it and watch fish swim on it. We could look at it for a second, then had to turn right back.
That's why my opinion is Patrick fished 10 foot or less, so his power poles would work, and he could watch whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's why everything he caught, all the videos I seen of him catching, was under 10 foot of water. Because then his power poles held him.
Well,
and he could look around.
those last couple fish he caught to go over 100 where he wasn't power pole down there.
Another good thing is that 360.
I don't think.
Because when you're live imaging over here, you're going to miss all this over here just because you're shining in certain areas where you're fishing, so you're missing.
Say that one more. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
As far as the 360,
Yeah.
it's kind of goes hand in hand with the live imaging.
Works really good together.
When
I think it
you're
does.
shining over here, hitting this dock or hitting these stumps or hitting this grass, you don't know what's over here.
Yeah.
You don't know what's back.
Yeah. I think they're great partners. Yeah, exactly. Because you can be strolling down a stretch looking at timber, and all of a sudden you're in 360, this deal pops up. Yeah, exactly. Now you flip your Garmin over there and see if there's some fish on it. Yeah, they're great partners. Or, like I said, the whole deal in a nutshell right now is what is the active target going to be? Is it going to be on the same level of Garmin? That's the big question and decision.
Based on the videos I'm seeing, the definition in the fish is better.
It is. I saw one of a guy that caught like a big walleye, and when the fish came up to the bait, when the fish turned, you could literally see like the tail and dorsal fin,
Right.
and they froze that and screenshotted it, and then showed that screenshot and the picture of the walleye laying on top of the cooler, and it was identical. So there is some more detail. Like I said, it's just higher resolution. It's,
Right.
you know, listen, when we first got digital cable, it looked great. And so did LiveScope. When we first got LiveScope, it looked great. Man, when that 1080p came out, bud, the digital cable didn't look that good anymore. And I think that's a little bit of what's going, and it should, right? Like we talked about this earlier, the second generation of side imaging was much better than the first generation of side imaging. And that's kind of where we are.
And the best part about it is how you move the bait and how the fish reacts to the bait is what you're looking for more than anything
Yes,
else.
and that will be done on both units.
Yes, right.
That will be done on both units. That's right now. It looks like Lowrance is showing structure better. I'm anxious to see, because some of the shots I see of the fish on the active target on the video, because we're all just looking at video on the internet. None of us have our hands on it, you know. Some of the shots of fish I see look really, really good, and in some of the shots I see, like I've seen some pros with the ones that they got early on their boat, and they're showing me that screen. I go, that ain't as good as a Garmin. You know, it doesn't look as good. You can't see the fish as good, and I'm like, so I don't know.
But you can see the line on some of those on that active target. You can see the line going down. If you can see the line going down, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to see some structure.
I think a lot of
Yeah,
it has
you'll
to do
see
with
structure, but for me, it's about
The clarity.
the clarity of the fish. And you may see their line going out 10 feet in front of their boat, but are you going to see that 3-pounder at 50 feet?
Yeah.
Because that Garmin will show you that 3-pounder at 50 feet. We all know it will.
I think it's got a lot to do with depth. A lot to do with depth. Because when I get down to where I'm 22 to 26 foot, they're more of a smaller blur. Mm-hmm. You know? You
Yep.
can see them moving.
Yep.
And the bait schools, you can pick them up easy at
As
the deeper waters.
as
but-
challenging as it would be in shallower water, in my opinion, like when I get mine, I'm going to tell you right now what I'm going to do. I will have a depth in range setting that I do not move. Even if I'm only looking at this much screen, I won't move it. And the reason I won't move it is because I want to educate myself on the scale of the size of fish that I'm looking at. That way, the first time that I see a dot and I catch it, and I know what size that fish is, now I know next time I see a dot that size, it's that size fish, or if it's bigger, smaller, smaller.
Right.
But I'm going to keep my scale, my depth range, and my forward range the same when I first get mine for a long time until I get really confident in what I'm looking at. And that's a tool that I use, guys, and I tell people to do that on their sonars, on their Lowrances. You know, I tell them, hey, out here we rarely fish over 25 feet. Rarely do we fish over 25 feet on floor. Set your graphs at 30, 35 feet. You're down scanning your sonar and don't touch them. Even if you're graphing 8 foot of water, 5 foot of water, so what? You're looking at this much dirt and this much water. It doesn't matter. At least when you see a fish on there, you'll be able to recognize what size it is. And now, you know, once you get really, really used to it, you can make the adjustments or let it go on auto or however you want to do it. But, you know, to learn your graph and learn exactly what scale of fish or what size of fish you're looking at by seeing it on the graph, I think that's a really important tip to follow, is to keep your scale the same for a long time.
Have you used Perspective View yet?
No. Have you?
So my butt, the tournament I was telling you about earlier, we won. He's got it on his boat, and that's all he ever uses.
Perspective.
Because you can literally.
And for those that don't know, the live scope, the traditional forward-facing live scope is kind of a narrow view, but perspective is a much broader view of the same thing.
And that's due to depth as well. So the deeper the water, the more of a footprint you get.
Yeah.
The shallower the water, the less of a footprint at the bottom you get.
Yeah, generally speaking, it seems like, even though, yes, can you use Garmin live scope in shallow water? Can you see a fish? Yes. But for shallow water, it's not nearly as effective of a tool as it is in deep water.
Until you switch it. Then I can see out 60 foot, down 20 foot, and watch them swim. It's a whole different deal.
Oh, really?
I'll have to
Is
show
that
you.
the perspective deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whole different. So it's it's a whole nother deal.
My head hurts, man. Can we just throw a spinnerbait or something? Like, I don't know.
So when I bought my boat,
Can we just Texas rig a worm and throw a spinnerbait like when I was 8 years old? Can we go back to that?
I just bought the Garmin mount to be able to flip it.
Yeah.
But I've watched it all. I've fished it with my buddies, and it's unreal.
I'm going to tell you, and what you're going to see over the next few years, and I don't want to hear no complaining from any of these old tour guys. There ain't no reason to complain. We're all learning about it at the same time. They got the same chance to learn. Just because you've won more and you ain't as hungry as that 20-year-old that's studying that graph every night, that ain't his fault. That's your fault, right?
Right there.
And I'm going to tell you what you're going to see is you're going to see over the next 5 years of fishing, you're going to find out who's hungriest. Because the guy who learns these modern electronics the best is going to be the one that's going to win more. And the ones that are working the hardest at it are going to be the best at it. Because it's there for all. It's all new to everybody right now. We're all learning.
It's just like I have a 14-year-old little girl. She's always on her computer and always on her phone. She's all about, electronics.
Yeah.
This is the age of.
There's a generational deal that you are at a disadvantage. There are some, like, listen, Rick Clunn is at a disadvantage. He did not grow up with smartphones. He didn't even grow up with the internet, Jack. Like, Rick Clunn had gray hair.
Wooden toys.
Yeah, I don't think they had cable TV when Rick Clunn grew up. I don't know. That sucker's old as Methuselah.
Black and white.
Yeah. Forget digital TV. They didn't even have antenna yet.
Depth finder was a can of concrete with tied in the rope every foot.
Yeah, rope and weight.
Listen.
Well, he was born in
Listen.
46, if that-
All right, guy, I'm gonna tell you one story. Then we're gonna do some giveaways because we've been running a little bit long now. But hey, so that's funny. You said his depth finder was a can of concrete with something tied off every foot. So before I had that 17-foot boat that I ran up the side of a tree out here, the first thing I did when I first moved here, the first time somebody took me fishing here, I went out that week and I bought an 8-foot plastic boat and a little 30-pound, 35-pound thrust trolling motor and 2 batteries. And I went fishing everywhere in that. And there was a little lake down the road from my house, and I even brought it up here quite a bit, actually, on the weekends. I would bring it up here, and I'd launch at the 19 Bridge or Running Creek Bridge or whatever, and just fish some little out-of-the-way areas that didn't have a lot of wind. But, man, I didn't have a depth finder on that. It was just me and 3 fishing poles and a bag full of tackle. That was it. And I wanted to know how deep the water was I was fishing, especially on that little lake closest to my house. It was real small. And I wanted to know what the deepest water on that lake was, especially when it got to summertime. So I took my wife had some little light dumbbells she used to work out with. Well, I stole an 8-pound dumbbell, tied a 50-foot rope on it, and I had a piece of tape with a permanent marker that I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 on every foot. I had a piece of tape on there with a permanent marker writing what foot it was up to 30 foot. And I would literally spend hours, like most of some days, trolling motor and drifting around in areas and dropping that weight over and over again and just memorizing where the drop-offs were. Hey, there is no shortcuts. Listen, people that succeed at anything, and not that I'm some big success in fishing, but I do get to do something that not a lot of people do. I do what I love every day for a living. I do it. I make my money doing what I love doing, and my family is fed and warm. And I really can't ask for much more out of life, because if you know where I come from, that's asking a lot to get there. And it was nothing but sheer obsession and determination. And I didn't have very much experience, and I didn't have any business ending up where I ended up. But I had to figure out how to catch every fish. Even if it meant drifting around all day, dropping an 8-pound dumbbell that my wife was mad that I stole. Because back then, I don't think we could afford a second one. We couldn't afford a replacement back then. I'm telling you, we couldn't. We was straight out of the Marine Corps and dirt floor poor now. It was bad. But hey, I had a plastic boat that would float. That's right.
So her dumbbell was the key to your success.
That's where it all started, Gary Payne. That's where it all started. Hey, let's do some giveaways. How about that? Let's have some Merry Christmas and let's get some baits giveaway, man. This is, I always try to tell you guys how much I appreciate all of y'all. Every one of y'all that watches the video, especially you guys that come here to these. I mean, just everybody that's watching right now on any platform that you watch me on, whatever it is. book a guide trip, subscribe to the Fish Life app, whatever you do to support us. It really does mean the world, because I really was the guy that was so obsessed that he stole a dumbbell to drop in the water to figure out how deep it was. So it means a lot to me that I get the opportunity to do it. And I'm well aware that as hard as I worked at it and as hard as I tried at it, I couldn't have done any of it without all of y'all and all of y'all. So I always make sure that I tell y'all thank y'all. But I think what we're fixing to do is probably going to be the biggest giveaway of personal tackle that any fishing guide or YouTube guy has ever done. So I think that's what we're fixing to do. So for those of y'all that didn't hear earlier, all this was in my boat until about 5 minutes before I left the house. I literally pulled this out of my boat today. So some of these baits will be what you call seconds. Like when you're on pro staff with people, like some of my smash tech baits, they're the ones like he forgot, like the eyes fell off of, or the color line ran a little crooked, or so if they don't all look brand new out of the package, it is what it is. It's the ones I fish. So, and the ones actually that Heath Taylor got on Smash Tech, he fishes those too. All the 6 Sense baits are new though. But from Smash Tech, some of those baits that are in here, they might be seconds. I apologize. Some of them may have been used. I don't know. Especially some of the hard baits have definitely been used. But like I said, they came right out of my boat. The first thing that I want to give away tonight, Mark Pack. He's in the hospital. He's a legend, and he has been a hero and an idol of mine for sure since the time I moved here. And my favorite thing about Mark is that from the day I met Mark, he has never treated me any differently than he would treat his good buddy Scott Martin or Kevin Van Dam, or, you know, maybe in my opinion, the guy that might be the greatest bass fishing guide of all time, Brian Dupleshain, who is here. He's never treated me any differently than he would treat any of those guys, and that's how he treats everybody. He's everybody's buddy. He's a really fun guy. He's a good man. He's a God-fearing man, a family man, and he's a legend when it comes to bass fishing. That dude's caught a lot of big fish. He's innovated a lot of unique tackle over the years. I put together a box full of Impact Shads. This is a bait that he designed. It's Impact Lures, as in M-PACK, Mark Pack. ImpactLures.com is where you can find these. You can also find some other great baits that he's designed there. He's got some jigs with some really unique weed guards that are extremely weedless. But these Impact Lures are kind of fluke style baits. They got a joint in them. They got a lot of good action. I've caught a gazillion fish on them over the years. Carolina rig, weightless. There's some big ones and some small ones in here. Bryce. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here, little man.
Oh, Lord.
Can you pick somebody to give these to? And it can't be your daddy.
It can't be your daddy.
Or your mama.
Pick a guy.
No, you got to pick a person to give it
Pick
to.
somebody in here that you
Pick
wanna
somebody
give
you want to
that.
give it. Who you want to give it to? Her? All right, here you go. Go hand it to her. Here.
No,
Here.
take the whole thing.
There you go. There you go. All right. Good deal. Merry Christmas. I bet I know who's going to be using those. Big Brother's going to be on those.
She said, I'll be selling those.
Be like my little
Big Brother's going to be on those. That's right.
There you go. Honey, hold it
So,
up to his head. Make sure he
that is
gets
funny.
forward, okay?
Okay. This next one, this is Smash Tech
No, bro. Sit down.
Bubble Fries, and this is probably pretty close to a lifetime supply as durable as these things are, unless you're Bill Wilcox. That's just a decent week for him. But Bill Wilcox knows these a lot. If y'all know Bill Wilcox, he loves this bait. It's probably his favorite bait, especially the neon green one right there. But we've got a box full of chartreuse, pepper, green pumpkin, and blue fleck Bubble Fries. And I really have not done this. Listen, I don't script anything. I didn't really think about how we were going to do this giveaway tonight, so I don't really know what to do. We got to do trivia, right? Like, that's the best way to do it.
Dance off.
Dance off. Actually, I don't like that. Yeah. Ain't nothing but old crusty white dudes in here. This ought to be great. Turn this camera around and get this party started, Jack. Oh, man. All right. Hey, well. Well, that's what fishermen are, a bunch of old crusty dudes. Yeah. All right. So Well, these are Smash Tech bubble fries, but since we just talked about Mark Pack, who can tell me the name of the first tackle company that Mark Pack started?
Lake Fort Tackle.
Gary Payne, got it. There's you some bubble fries.
I had to think about it for a second. It's okay.
Gary, did I give you too big of a present?
You did.
Apparently.
Can you handle all that,
I
son?
don't know.
Can you handle all that? Let's see. Was this? No. Yeah, this is the one here. All right. This one out here, this is a box full of 6 cents lures, and this is kind of the man who likes to slow down with some plastics. This is his dream. We got the brand new Flush 5.2. I don't know if y'all have seen that this week. It's another new fluke style bait. It's a little bit different. It's got kind of a taller profile. It walks really good. But we've also got the new creature bait from 6 cents, the hog wall in here. We've got some Divine Shaky headworms in 2 different sizes, variety colors. We got clout stick baits, and we got some ridge worms. And we got all kinds of stuff to rig them with. Different sizes of shaky heads, different hooks, a couple different sizes of tunks and weights. So bobber stops, a lot of stuff in this box. And I got to be honest with y'all. Y'all may get mad at me, but as soon as he walked in here wearing his jersey, this is a great tournament fishing box, so this is his. There you go. For those that can't see, there's a young man walking in with his high school hoodie jersey on, so he got that one. All right, next box we got is kind of a jig / creature bait box. We got 6 cents prawns, we got 6 cents stroker crawls, both in varieties of colors, and we got several different sizes and colors of jigs. We got everything from finesse jig, half-ounce jig, 3/4 ounce, offshore dragon jig, even a big 1+ ounce grass jig with all the trailers, and we even put you some 4/0 heavy gauge ox flipping hooks in there if you want to Texas rig your creature bait. So we got a box full of that. We got to do another trivia question, and I suck at these. Somebody, you got to help me, man. What are you doing over there?
I'm laughing at you because this wasn't scripted.
It's not scripted. It's awful. I need Zach here. See what I need. Zach's good at coming up with this stuff.
He's good at coming up with fly moments.
It's because he's full of crap.
That's
It's full of nonsense.
I'm still trying to figure out how she's been married to him for 25 years.
Who, Tara?
Yeah.
She's mean. That's how. She's mean enough to keep him in line.
You are going to edit that out, right?
No. Absolutely not.
Laugh and go, yeah.
Yeah, Tara's like my sister-in-law pretty much. So,
It's tough.
trivia is tough. And we've done so many trivias in the past. I'm trying to not do the same stuff we've always done. Hey, so we talked about the Patrick Walters deal. You don't have to get the ounces, but who can tell me the pounds of weight Patrick Walters won the Bassmaster Elite Series with?
104.
You've already won. You can't win twice.
104.
Who said? Y'all gotta start raising hands. Did you say 104 first? I guess. I don't hear that good as it is. All right, some of these aren't small swim baits, but these are swim baits. We got some different Smash Tech and 6 cent swim baits. We got Divine swim baits. We got big hollow bellies, little hollow bellies, big poachers, little poachers. We got kind of a sampling of different swim bait hooks as well. Different size belly weighted hooks from 6 cents and different size jig heads from 6 cents. You got some swim bait? You like swim baits?
Swim bait.
Yeah.
Boy, he comes in and wants to go straight for the swim baits, and we leave swim baits with this place.
Well, we ain't got but a few kids in the house, so you might as well get one too. I know you love swim baits. Come here, boy.
Oh, man.
Come get your swim baits. There you go, Bryce. Hey, look in the camera. Tell everybody how happy you are. Come here. Look right there. Tell everybody how happy you are right there at that camera. Look at it. Are you happy?
Happy.
Happy. Good enough. Good enough. There you go. He's going to be real disappointed when I break out this bag of big swim baits here in a minute.
Your next question is what pound won the Toyota? And I won't answer
In
it.
2014?
Just
Yeah.
yeah. I won't answer it.
Won the what?
Won the Toyota.
Won the truck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do know it. Yeah.
I won't answer it.
This is probably the most valuable box of the night. This is a variety of 6 cents hard baits. I think there's 30 pieces of 6 cents baits in here. There's jerk baits, square bills, bigger square bills, lipless baits, a couple of lipped grass crankbaits, a flat side and a swank, a variety of top waters, movement 80Xs, some deep diving crankbaits, and a very rare Vega frog, which are hard to find. Vic once paid like $90 for a Vega frog,
And then,
it broke.
And then it broke.
and then he broke it. It's crazy. I've had 3 all year. I ain't broke any of them.
I know. He called me
Still
on that
weight
trip and
broke
said,
out.
by the way,
Tried.
That dude's like, the weight broke out of the bottom of it.
he goes, by the way, that frog broke. And I said, the $90 one? He said, And I was
So
like,
before they were released, whenever there was all the buzz about everybody's waiting on them, we had a charity tournament. We had some bait packs that 6 Cents donated, and I threw one of my personal Vega frogs in there that was a prototype. And I had done fished that frog for 6 months, and then Vic gets it and knocks the balancing weight out of it and breaks it,
I think he bit on it for like,
and probably knocked a hole in the bottom of it when you did that, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's looks like two work
Yeah.
weights.
Yeah, it has a little. Yeah. It's got. It goes into the plastic, so when it comes out, you got a hole. Yeah. All right, so 30 pieces of 6 Cents hardware. You guys know what this is about, man. Best hard baits in the game, custom paint jobs, all that good stuff. I need the angler and the weight of the big bass that won the Toyota Tundra at the recent tournament that Patrick Walters won. Who won big bass, and how big was the fish?
Seth won it. And it was 9 something.
Set 5 to 9 something. That'll work. There you go.
Out of lane.
There you go. Good job, brother.
I think it was,
All right, this is a little sample of some big swim baits. There's even a swim bait in here that's not on the market yet. That jointed one. I didn't put any hooks on it because I didn't want to tear up the bag. But these bags, by the way, are super cool too. These are 6 Cents bags, and they're waterproof. They're awesome. They're amazing to put whatever you want to in. They come in different sizes, but I threw these in this. But you've got Trocar 10-aught belly weighted hooks for if you want to get these big swim baits deeper. You've got weightless 10-aught Trocar hooks if you want to run them shallow. There's Smash Tech convicts in here. There's a wag shad in here, which is another Smash Tech bait. There's a glide bait in here, Smash Tech glide bait. The 6 Cents prototype hard bait, as well as a line through gizzard shad. So a lot of big swim bait stuff in here. Who knows what the all-time 4-day tournament record weight is and where it was caught?
110.
No, the 110 was the 3-day record. The all-time total weight record. Who knows how much it was and where it was caught? Yes, I get to take my big swim baits home. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody knows?
Here, wasn't it? Didn't Keith come do it?
No, that was 115 in 3 days. Now that was the biggest 3 days, which was even bigger than any of the 3 over the 4-day record. But there's a 4-day record that's a bigger total weight than that.
That was the Paul Elias one, wasn't it? It was down south.
Yeah, but you've already won.
No, but I'm just saying.
It
I
was.
think they made a replica of all the fish. too, didn't they?
It was Paul
All
Elias.
5 of the fish.
It
It's
was-
gigantic. Big as that cow.
I'll tell you what. Since nobody got it, it was Paul Elias, Lake Falcon, 130 pounds, 130,
it was 138 according to Bass.
130 pounds, 8 ounces. There you go.
That was the biggest.
Google Queen. But since nobody got that, my man drove all the way from Bossier. He's got to get something. How about some big swim baits? All right. All right. This last one is
Excuse me, 132. But still, that's a lot of fish. What did you say?
y'all see what this is? Watch your head. I'm sorry.
He sees real well.
That is this is my personal chatterbait rod that I've been throwing the last couple of years. It is used. The reel is used, but she still works great. And it even comes with the exact chatterbait that I've been throwing a lot here lately on it. It's got a live magic shad and a jackhammer chatterbait. It's got a full spool, 20-pound Seagull fluorocarbon. And this is a 6 Cents Divine 7.5 medium heavy rod and a Lew's Tournament MB, which is no longer available. And I love these reels. They're really good for the money. So it is a $180 reel and $180 rod, $160 or $165 reel, about $25 or $30 worth of line and chatterbait. Yeah, that's right. Especially with that trailer on there. Yeah. So we're gonna give this away. Vic, help me come up with a good way to give this one away. I don't really know what to do, man. This one's got to be good. I'll tell you.
Fan on up there.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I know.
He in his garage, right?
Yeah, my garage. What y'all don't know, I broke the tip in the garage. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you what, man. I actually, instead of doing trivia, what I want to do is we've got a few guys, and I appreciate every one of y'all that's coming. I know there's a lot of new faces in the crowd, but we got a few guys that come to dang near every one of these. Some of them do. I couldn't tell you last time they missed one. And most of them have got something in their hand except for one guy. That's you. Hey, I sincerely appreciate all of y'all, and I really do. And these guys have come here every time, and so I got to give him something. Here you go, sir. There's your brand new Chatterbait rod.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Watch that fan. It's up there. Bryce, are you happy with them swim baits?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Bryce is happy with the swim baits. That's great. How about you? You happy with your Santa hat on? Now, do you fish?
Oh, well, even better.
Man, I tell you what,
Go to Academy.
it's a good thing your brother.
You have to buy her too.
It's a good thing your brother's so big. I'm gonna tell you that. You look at that cute and like to fish. Your brother's got some work ahead of him in a few years. I know that. Hey,
Big brothers have to step up.
that's the end of the year, guys. I really, really, really do appreciate y'all so much, and I hope what we've done here tonight kind of expresses that in some kind of way. So, and I appreciate you guys that are watching out there as well. Wish y'all could have been here with us, and we'll do it again next Christmas. We've done giveaways, I think, every Christmas since we started these. You know, this YouTube channel's been going right at 4 years now, and we didn't have these seminars started then. Well, I think this is the third Christmas in a row we've had seminars, and we've done pretty big giveaways at every one of them. So it's becoming kind of a fun tradition that I thoroughly enjoy, and can't thank y'all enough, man. Anybody got anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, I want to thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For doing this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Hey, man, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. Let's go eat some food.